controversy over Russian contacts with officials in President Trump's campaign during the election. According to a spokesperson for Vladimir Putin, the Russian ambassador met with people connected to the Hillary Clinton campaign as well. The spokesman saying it's the ambassador's job to stay in touch with both sides and that the meetings were about U.S.-Russian relations and had nothing to do with the election. Watch.
If you look at some people connected with Hillary Clinton during her campaign, you would probably see that he had lots of meetings of that kind. But there were no meetings about electoral process. There are lots of specialists in politology, people working in think tanks, advising Hillary or advising people working for Hillary. So if you look at it with intention to demonize Russia, you would probably see that, yes, he was trying to interfere in Hillary's activities. But it would be nonsense, because this is not true.
Judge, I'm going to start with you. Should we believe a spokesperson for the Kremlin on anything?
Well, I don't know that we should believe him, but let me lay down the law, explain the law if I could. There are two potential legal issues here. One is communicating with the Russians so that they will use their computer cybersecurity skills to affect the outcome of the election. That obviously would be a crime by any American who did that. The other is the one that General Flynn got in trouble for, although I don't think he committed the crime. Purporting to conduct your own foreign policy by attempting to change the foreign policy of another country toward the United States. That's a crime. But meeting with the ambassador, talking to the ambassador, anticipating a new administration, and whether it's done by Donald Trump's people or Hillary Clinton's people, is not only acceptable, not only is it not a crime, everybody has done it, and it's what you would hope would be done.
Yeah, it came out, I mean, when all those pictures came out of the Russian ambassador being present at President Trump's speech a few weeks ago, going to the Republican convention, going to many events, it sort of came out that it's not that strange to be meeting with the Russian ambassador.
But if their intention was any different than what you just laid out, Judge, then we would be talking a completely different story, right?
Absolutely. If the intention of meeting with the Russian ambassador was to facilitate Russian cyber attacks on the electoral system, to impair its integrity, to cause one side to win over the other, we have a very serious criminal act.
So based on, and if we were to take this spokesperson from the Kremlin at his word, does this change anything?
If what he's saying is true, then both sides were speaking to the Russian ambassador and their conversations were innocuous.
There you have it.
You know, I thought it was interesting. Last night we saw from the New York Times that there were certain Democrats who might want to just walk away from this whole thing if there's no there. You've got Congresswoman Spear of California who says, I'm not going to be part of some dog and pony show that is not a serious effort to do an investigation because this is really serious. You and I were talking about this in the break. I mean, if this is worth looking at, then why are Democrats treating it like, you know, it's the party to go to and not seriously looking at it? There's a 9-panel group that are looking at this. Spear says, under certain circumstances, they might all walk away from this.
Apparently,
so what would those be, I want to know?
Apparently, she believes that the Republicans will not endeavor to get at the truth, that their goal, according to this Congresswoman, is to conceal the truth rather than reveal it.
But she's talking about members of her own party who'd be willing to walk away.
She must be a Democrat.
She is.
Right, so she's saying don't trust Republicans to investigate the Trump campaign. That's basically what our argument is.
But this is one of those things that you say it enough times that it becomes planted in the subconscious of the American people.
Yes.
So they've said Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia so many times. There's been so many different things, so many connections that it's out there. It's built out.
Pavlov's dog.
You said that very well.
Honey, run, honey, run, honey, run. Now you just run.
One more
It's just
Trump,
right
Russia.
there so that, no, because then it'll be locked. You know, no. But it's built in, so it doesn't really matter at this point, even what happens from here. And the shame of it is we really should figure out who's leaking this top secret information. We really should figure out if there was anything there. And I don't know that we're ever going to get to the bottom of it because there's so much politics on top of it.
Somebody actually leaked the conversation that Lieutenant General Flynn had with the Russian ambassador. They selectively leaked it to make him look bad. That is a human being who knew exactly what they were doing and who was trying to influence the president's decision. If you magnify that out, that is the intelligence community or someone or someone's in it manipulating the President of the United States.
So what are the consequences for doing that?
Very, very, very bad. It's a criminal act to reveal the transcript of surveillance.
All right. The line to me of the hour was what you said, Megan, and that was about sunlighting. Sunlight being the disinfectant,
yes.
right? So we need some sunlight to see what really happens.
Yes, we do.
Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia.
A Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Anna Napolitano, I mean, they're political appointees. Should they be surprised?
Yes, they are. I'm chuckling because I've been following this story all day, and I did not know that a future Attorney General of the United States was among those who was fired in 1993 by Janet Reno. Look, U.S. attorneys serve at the pleasure of the president. They know that before they get the job, they're reminded of it during the job, and it can terminate the job at any time you want. So when the president says, directly or indirectly through the attorney general, it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. That's the political reality of elections have consequences.
Judge, we had Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Waters unhappy about what happened on Friday. But back in 2009, Representative Waters complained that President Obama did not get rid of Bush-era U.S. attorneys fast enough, so she was complaining back then. So is Maxine Waters trying to have it both ways?
I think she probably is, and people in both parties are trying to have it both ways. The president is the commander-in-chief. He's also the chief federal law enforcement officer. And just as he can designate what generals go into the field of battle, he can designate who are the U.S. attorneys that are going to prosecute federal law as he wants to see it prosecuted in various courts throughout the country. There's nothing surprising about this. There's nothing new about it. And quite frankly, I don't even know if there's anything newsworthy about it, except that some of our colleagues at the other networks a few blocks from here have been talking about little but this.
What do you make of the media reaction to it?
I think it's another example of their dismay and misunderstanding of Donald Trump, and any opportunity they can to criticize anything he does directly or indirectly, they will do. But whoever they put on earlier that said this has never happened before, you defied that by showing that Janet Reno fired twice as many as Bill Clinton did.
Including Jeff Sessions. Let's get to the CBO scoring of the GOP replacement bill. What do you think of the CBO study here?
I think that Mark Twain was largely correct when he said there are lies, there are damn lies, and there are statistics. I mean, you can make numbers mean almost anything you want. And like Congressman Paul just said, it's very, very difficult to predict how people are going to react when a tax credit is imposed on their tax bill and what they're going to do with that money. I agree with Paul Ryan when he said we are a free country and we have the right to purchase something or not purchase it. I profoundly, utterly, inexorably disagree with him when he says it's our job, meaning the federal government, to make health care affordable. That is not the job of the federal government. That is not in the Constitution. It is nowhere in law. That is a self-assumed job on the part of the Congress because they are afraid to take away benefits that Obamacare unconstitutionally gave out.
All right, Judge, it's always great to see you. Come back soon.
Thank you,
Love having you.
See you in the morning.